curriculum calendar. We did have this in the pre-session feedback about something that somebody wanted to think through. And, do I need to do this? Yes. 100% I would have my standards mapped out for the year. We have done an entire session on this, so if you need more information about this, we can provide it. But really, this is a matter of looking at the standards that you have to teach for the year, thinking through realistically how many days would it take for each standard, and possibly communicating with somebody else that's on your same grade level or content area. Really use another brain to help you think through that. It's sometimes very hard to tackle, especially if it's your first time doing it. But once you have a good idea of how many days it would take, start mapping it out on a calendar. Which takes me to the next one, lesson plans. Once you have your standards mapped out and you kind of have an idea of, okay, if I start day 2, which you should, where, how long will it take for me to teach that standard? Then the next one. So you just start mapping it out, and you'll really get farther than you think you will in terms of understanding where you'll land by the first semester, So I would have a curriculum calendar in place before the first day. So that takes us to lesson plans. And for day 1, you're going to do, your lessons are really going to be around procedures. So day 1, you're going to be teaching procedures, and you're going to be teaching getting to know you. You guys know getting to know you stuff is always fun, but you need to have an actual plan for it. You can't just be like, we're just going to get to know each other. I mean, you got to do something. Plenty of getting to know you activities on the web, but a couple that I've used that I've loved in the past. You can have things like, well, this is your tolerance level. You can have things like paper ball fights where you get students to write down a really fun, interesting fact about themselves. They don't sign their name, and then they just start throwing paper at each other, and then you just call time, which is actually another good thing because that's like teaching them your timing procedure, because you're always going to have like timing that you'll have going on, and countdowns and things, so you'll be able to help them know, like, when I say this, you're quiet and silent and still. So anyway, when you do that, though, they pick up the ball that's next to them, they unravel it, and then they look, they read it, and then the class has to try to guess which student that interesting fact matches, which is a really fun one. I've also done things like just like ball toss, where they toss the ball and say something cool about themselves, or you can do like categories, like tell us your favorite book. There are plenty more, though, lots of other really cool things. You can have them make something about themselves. If you're like into technology and stuff, you can always have them do like even like voice recordings about themselves, which is really cool, and then they can go around the room maybe and like use a QR code, one of my other favorite things, and like QR code it, and then they get to hear about somebody else. So anyway, all those really cool things can happen. Just think about what you want to do, and that's your lesson plan for day 1, along with procedures. But day 2, get into content. I think that some people would disagree with me, but I know a lot of people who would agree. You don't want to lose any time because you think, oh, the first week is all about getting to know you. You can continue the getting to know you stuff, but if you don't get in on that content, you aren't going to teach the standards in a year. So, and the most important part of that is not just about teaching the standards, it's about you need to establish this is our structure. We are learning, this is what we're learning, and we're going to do it right away. So I would 100% get into content on the first day or the second day. And then you continue teaching procedures throughout that first week. I mean, you'll be on procedures for a while, but that doesn't mean that you can't do procedures and content. I think that's my main point here.